Uh, there are personalities like yourself, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and son of Somadatta, called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. So this means Duryodhana mentioned the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhana. Ashwathama is the son of Dronacharya and Somadatta, or Bir or Bhurishrava is son of the king of the Balikas. Karna is the half brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya married the twin sister of Dronacharya.
So here Duryodhana has mentioned all the exceptional heroes. So let us see the names of one more time. He is highlighting Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Swamidatta, called Bhurisho. So Prabhupada is translating that they're always been victorious. So even now, even in this verse, Duryodhana is still continuing the comparison. So primarily, we saw last time in the class that when we do comparison, either we are becoming envious or we become proud. So here, Duryodhana is not envious or proud. He is actually fearful of the outcome, because he never expected that the Pandavas would be able to get an army. He never thought that the Pandavas could arrange for an army, and it's such a big army. So, and he is, in one sense, instigating Dronacharya, saying that you don't be lenient on him, lenient on your disciple, both Arjuna and Drishtadyumna. And he highlighted, in a way, he highlighted such that to remind Dronacharya that Drishtadyumna in future would be able to kill him also. So this is the diplomacy of Duryodhana. So Duryodhana, we can very clearly see over here that he is a very diplomatic person. So primarily, I'll just go on to this page. So now we are reading from the 9th verse. So with this we'll go in detail. So we are reading from the chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Text 9. Annecha bahava sura Madarthe tyakta jivitaha nana shastra praharanaha sarve yuddha visharadaha. Translation: there are many heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. So military science, the meaning of the word science means something which can be applied by anyone and everyone. So this is the translation. Now here, in one sense, when we read this translation, I'll read this translation one more time. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. See here, it is very important line. Who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. So he knows that most of the people in the war are going to die. But for his own sense gratification, he does not want to avoid the war. So this is the wickedness of Duryodhana, which is highlighted over here. Lay down their lives for my sake. So he knows what, for whose sake this entire war is going on. For whose sake? This is the primary cause is Duryodhana, and this Duryodhana's evil-minded ambition is supported by all his equally evil-minded brothers and his father, blind Dhritarashtra, and his maternal uncle, Shakuni. So he knows very well that none of these heroes, they will not come victorious, and he knows that all of them are going to die. So he's just trying to build up the scenario, he's trying to boost the morale of all the other heroes, and he's trying to equate them. In one sense, he's trying to balance both the armies, and he is balancing the situation, and he's trying to overcome his fear. So this is the mindset of Duryodhana. Let us read this, the purport, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. As far as others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Kritavarma, Shalya, all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhana's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. Duryodhana was, of course, confident of his victory on account of above mentioned combined strength of his friends. So there is one saying in English that birds of same feather flock together. So primarily, here you can see that this Jayadratha, Kritavarma, Shalya, they're all evil-minded. Otherwise, they would not support an evil-minded person. And it is an obligation, it's a kind of a moral obligation for Bhishma and Dronacharya that they are supporting Duryodhana. So, when in the assembly, Mother Draupadi was being disrespected by Duryodhana, Dushasana, the same Dronacharya, the same Bhishma, they did not protect Draupadi. So today is, what is today? Can anyone take a guess? Can anyone tell me what is today?
Prabhu, today is Akshay Tritiya.
Excellent. Very good. So there is a very important aspect on the day of Akshay Tritiya. It's a very important aspect. I'll also share this in the group. What is this important aspect in Akshay Tritiya? There has been, if we see the significance of Akshay Tritiya, Parashurama, Lord Parashurama appeared on this day. River Ganges, Mother Ganga, she descended to planet Earth on this day. This also is considered to be, if there will be a Treta Yuga, all the Treta Yugas will begin from this day. Sudama visited Lord Krishna on this day. The Pandavas received Akshay Patra on this day. Vyasadeva composed Mahabharata. So the entire Mahabharata was given in the form of a story, but the Mahabharata contains the information what is there in the Vedas. So the whole, in one sense, the whole summary of Vedas is presented in this 1 lakh verses of Mahabharata. And the gist of entire Mahabharata is the 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. So currently we are reading this Bhagavad Gita. This is the gist of the entire Vedic literature. Adi Shankaracharya on Akshaya Tritiya day composed a stotram called as Kanakadhara Stotram. Kubera received his wealth on the Akshaya Tritiya day, and he became the custodian wealth of the demigods. Goddesses Annapurna appeared on this day. So these are the significance of Akshaya Tritiya. So, different people promote their festivals, and they, try to bring out their festivals. So we as Vaishnavas, we should know the spiritual importance, the importance of festivals in regards to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. On every festival, we should know that. So whenever any festival is there, we should see how it is connected to our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and we should always try to present this to others, and we should share this information with others. It was on this Akshaya Tritiya day that Mother Draupadi was saved by Lord Krishna by providing unlimited supply of cloth. So when Mother Draupadi was being disrobed in the Asat Sabha, in the evil Sabha of the the evil Sabha of the Kauravas, it was on this day that Lord Krishna protected her. So this is the day when all of this happened on Akshaya Tritiya. So this Akshaya Tritiya day is a very, very important day. And it was on the day of Akshaya Tritiya that Durvasa was sent by the Pandavas for 12 years. They were in exile and 1 year incognito. When they were still in exile, not in incognito, in one of the years, this Durvasa was requested by Duryodhana to visit the Pandavas in the forest, and this Duryodhana specifically requested Durvasa to go to the Pandavas once Draupadi had already taken her meal at that time with 10,000 disciples. This is the kind of evil-minded Duryodhana is. So Duryodhana was actually puffed up because of his belongings, and he was always trying to harm the Pandavas. And very clearly we can see here that he himself knew that how selfish he is by this very one word. In his own words, if we have to say in Sanskrit, we'll read this part. Annecha bahava shura madarthe. Madarthe means for my sake. Madarthe tyaktva jivitaha. So he knows very clearly that all this war is happening for his sense gratification, for his satisfaction. So this is how it is. So primarily we can see over here that how Duryodhana is so evil-minded, and we shall read this Madarthe. Okay, in fact, for this word to word we have not done, so we'll start from the beginning. I'll read the English part, and I can see over here that now, just now, even was this? Okay, I think. So Gayatri, can you unmute yourself and read the English part? Is it possible for you to read, Gayatri? So in case Gayatri is not able to, then Mayank, you are there. You are able to hear my voice, Mayank?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so I'll read the English part. So you read the, I'm sorry, I'll read the Sanskrit part. You'll read the English part. Anye,
Many
many others.
others.
Cha,
Also,
Bahavaha,
in the great number,
Shuraha,
heroes
Madarthe,
for my sake,
Tyaktva,
prepare to risk life.
Nana,
Many
Shastra,
weapons
Praharanaha,
equipped with
Sarve,
all of them.
Yuddha,
Battle,
Visharadaha.
experience in military science.
So he knows that this entire war is happening for his own sake. So this is the nature of sinful people. And one more thing we have to learn from these shloka is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Vishayir onno khaile molin hoy mon. So what is that? What is the meaning of that? Vishayi means one who is too much attached to sense gratification, whose senses are uncontrolled. Vishayir anno khaile molin hoy mon. Malin means your mind will get contaminated. So both Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha, they were great leaders, but because they were accepting service, especially they were eating the food that was being prepared, or that was in the sinful minded Vishayi person like Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, even they could not take the sound decision of protecting Mother Draupadi. See, Draupadi was Bhishma Pitama's, like granddaughter-in-law. It is his right to protect his granddaughter-in-law, and she pleaded. A Kshatriya cannot deny any woman seeking protection. A Kshatriya must protect someone who's seeking protection. So even from the point of view of Kshatriya, he being a Kshatriya, he did not fulfill that. So it is very important that whenever we are outside, we should know what is the source of the food. And ideally, we should not, as Krishna conscious devotees, we should never eat this onion and garlic and all these things, because this will contaminate and lower our consciousness. So as much as possible, even while you're traveling, try to exceptionally avoid this and garlic. And never ever eat in the house of these karmis, these vishayis, because they will pollute our consciousness and we will not have the ability to take decisions. The ability to know to say no to sense gratification comes from doing nice sadhana, comes from chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra by following Prabhupada. But the wealth, the treasure of our sadhana will get impacted if we accept food in the house of a Vishayi. So now let us read the 10th shloka also of this Bhagavad Gita's first chapter, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam पर्याप्तं त्व इदं एतेषं बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्. Ritam, okay, you want to chant? Okay. Aparyaptam tadasmakam
अपर्याप्तं त अस्माकं
balam bhishmabhirakshitam
अलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं
पर्याप्तं tva idam etesham
पर्याप्तं त्व इदं तेषां
balam bhimabhirakshitam.
अलं भीमाभिरक्षितं.
So let us read this synonyms. So who has not read? So Ratambra, you can please read. Aparyaptam
Immeasurable.
tat
That.
asmakam
Of ours.
balam
Strength.
bhishma
By grandfather Bhishma.
abhirakshitam
Perfectly protected.
paryaptam
Limited.
tu
But.
idam
All these.
etesham
Of the Pandavas.
balam
Strength.
bhima
By Bhima.
abhirakshitam.
Carefully protected.
Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Purport. Here is an estimation of the comparative strength made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. So here we can see that Duryodhana is actually so proud and confident because he has his great grandfather Bhishma with him. So therefore, on his own, the strength of Bhishma, on the strength of Bhishma, he is actually so confident. We should take one lesson from here that karmis will be confident of so many things. They'll be confident of their money. They'll be confident of their bank balance. They'll be confident of their friends, relatives, but nothing is going to save. Say there are so many great politicians. They have a lot of money, but they are dying. They have all the best medical facilities, but still they are dying. So none of these can protect us. The only thing that will protect us is Krishna. And the best example of this is Shri Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj was always tortured by his father, but still he was successful. So now I'll read this by myself. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avastita bhishmam evabhirakshanto bhavantah sarva evahi. Ayaneshu in the strategic points, cha also, sarveshu everywhere, yatana bhagam, yes, as they are, differently arranged, avastitaha situated, bhishmam unto grandfather Bhishma, eva certainly, abhirakshanto support may be given, bhavantaha all of you, sarve respectively, eva certainly, he and exactly. Translation purport by Abhachan Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now all of you must give full support to grandfather Bhishma, standing at your respective strategic points in the phalanx of the army. Purport. Duryodhana, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Deva was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes would not leave the strategic positions and allow the enemy to break in phalanx. Duryodhana carefully felt that the victory of Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Deva. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Deva and Dronacharya in the battle because he knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice, while she was being forced to be stripped naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that though two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that all such affection would now be completely given up by them as customary during the gambling performances. So we have discussed from the 7th shloka till the 11th shloka now. So here, especially from this 11th shloka, we can come to know that we should never ever accept anything